Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where we'll be looking at overloading functions. Okay, so what is overloading functions? Overloaded functions are basically just functions with the same name but different parameters. And now these can be different in the type, or they can be different in the parameter values. Okay, so the use cases are they could have different types, or there are different possible entries, but the most important is that it depends on the circumstance and on the situation. Okay, so the first example we look at is the different types. So let's say that you are adding two numbers. These numbers could be integers or they could be doubles, and you might want to have two different functions for this. As you can see here, they have the same name but different types and different types in the parameter values. And when you call the function, C++ will look for the function that matches exactly with the types and with the name of the function. So if you used a double in the parameters, it would match it with the double function. Okay, and the next one is different possible entries. So for example, displaying a name. Some people have middle names and some people don't. So since they both have display name in common as the name of the function, you could have two parameters, so first name and surname, or if you did have a middle name, you could have first name, middle name, and surname. And depending on the number of parameters that you give when calling the function, C++ will match it to the accurate function. Okay, so now let's have a look at this in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so now let's look at the first example, which was different types. And let's use the example from before when we were adding types of either integers or doubles. Okay, so now what we can do is we'll just create the function prototype for both of them, just so it is easy to understand the structure or the layout of overloading functions. Okay, so the main thing really is just giving it the same name. Okay, so firstly let's do it for integers. So we write int, then we'll say add numbers, and we can put int number 1 and then int number 2. Okay, now for doubles we would just do the same thing but with double. So we write int double, add numbers, double number 1 and double number 2. Okay, great. Now we can just write the body of these functions, so int add numbers, and we'll just say return number 1 plus number 2. And same for the double function. Okay, so now that's great. Okay, great. So now in the main function, let's test this. So we'll output add numbers, and for the first one, let's give it integers. So let's say 10 and 20. And here you write add numbers, and let's give it double. So let's say 5.25 plus 4.75. Okay, and just so we can see where it's going, let's just give an output statement in both of these, and let's say this is the integer call, and we will say that this one, cout, this is the double call. Okay, now that's simple enough. We'll just put end lines here, just so it looks better when it's outputted. So now let's run this and see what we get. Okay, great. So the first one is an integer call, so it goes to integer call, and 10 plus 20 is 30. So that's great. And the next one are two doubles, so it goes to the double call, and 5.25 plus 4.75 is 10, so we get 10. Okay, great. Now let's look at the next example, which was the middle name or no middle name. Now what I'd like you to try is, I want you to try and create the whole code just as we did with the integers and doubles, and when you're ready, press play and we'll go through it. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll create the prototypes for these. So we'll write string display name, we'll say string first name, string surname. Okay, so this is the prototype for first name and surname only. So now let's look at the second one, display name, and here we will add a a middle name. So we'll write first name, string middle name, and string surname. Okay, great. Now let's write the body for this, and we'll just say return first name plus, I forgot the parameter here, okay, and for the middle name we'll do string display name string first name, and we'll add the string middle name. Okay, and here we'll return first name plus middle name plus surname. Okay, great. And here we will output with middle, and here we'll output no middle. Okay, great. So those are the functions and they have the same name. So here, if we put the same name for the function, C++ will distinguish which function to use depending on the amount of parameters. Okay, so great. So the first one we'll do is cout display name, and we'll say alpha and a no. Okay, great. So, and for the second one we'll say display name, and we'll say Bob, Tim, Martin. Okay, that's great. Now let's save this and test it. We'll just run this again, but I'll put end lines here. Okay, save and run this. Okay, great. So as we can see here, we've got the no middle for the first one, since there are only two, and for the second one we have with middle since there are three. Okay, so now that's all there is to the overloading functions, and of course, as you can see here, we did not put the spaces in between, but that is relatively simple, and I'll just do it now. And here it's okay. Let's run that. Okay, great. So that's all there is to overloading functions, and I will see you in the next video.